Okay, so today, I'd like to give you a quick tip on how to maximize the use of ChatGPT the more to be able to give you precise answer to what you want to do. And the power of ChatGPT, in exploring ChatGPT, it's in giving it right prompts. That's what we also do when you want to use other AI tools as well to facilitate your work. But there are three key um, features that are particular to ChatGPT, which I want to quickly share with you. So, which would facilitate the way it produces the output for you in a way that it will, it will summarize it and will give you the main concept of that, the key features of that particular concepts you are asking it to produce for you. So here I want to ask ChatGPT to give me, um, teach me the concept of qualitative study, you know. Um, so once you type this in ChatGPT, you open your ChatGPT and you have this there. The secret is at the end of that particular thing, if you like, you can put it in this angular brackets, type ELS10. ELS10. Once you type this in, this is, don't ask me what ELS10 is. I don't know it either, you know, but through research, these are some of the things that we find out and it will give us the good results. So let's go now. Just put the prompts. It's bringing it. It's bringing it. Now you can see what we have here. It's not just giving us in paragraphs. It's not just giving us in just raw text and all of that, but it has categorized it and has, stratified in such a way that you would enjoy the presentation. Look at it first in the first instance. It's giving us a definition, a very, very brief definition about 2.5 lines. What is qualitative study? A qualitative study is a type of research that focuses on understanding human experiences, behaviors, interactions, and social context. Instead of using numbers and studies, as in quantitative research, it uses words, meanings, and description. You can see this is concise. This is very, very concise. Then the key features are itemized. It presented the purpose and then give us a short description of what the purpose is. So this will be very handy when you want to revise. Maybe you are preparing for an exam. It will be very handy for you to summarize what quantitative or qualitative, rather, qualitative analysis or qualitative technique or qualitative study is. If you look at that, the purpose is given as to explore how and why people think, feel, or behave in a certain way. Then the data type, you can see that is telling us that the data type that you need is non-numeric, like interviews, open-ended surveys, and observations. And the approach could be inductive, which is building on theories from data. And these are the things that we teach in qualitative study. Look at that, look at the settings, look at the flexibility, look at the output. And then it goes further. Common data collection methods. You can see the summary here. And these are the things that people teach, lecturers teach when it comes to talking about qualitative study. So we have interviews, focus groups discussion, observations, document analysis. And what are they? Each of them, it has provided very concise snippets into what they are. If you look at the interviews, one-on-one conversation to get personal stories or opinions, and then it moves further. Common qualitative research design. If you look at this, the design type and the description, one of it is phenomenology, which I taught recently in a course in URM 902 for our PhD students in Obasanjo University. These are some of the things I mentioned. Look at that. It has given us the qualitative research design, the common type. The phenomenology is all about exploring people's life experiences, e.g., life after loss, or how they feel after they lost so much money, for example, and things like that. Phenomenology. And then grounded theory is also saying that develop a new theory from the data itself. Ethnography is the study of culture and communities through immersion, whereby you as a researcher has to be with them, has to go there to experience what they experience in terms of their culture, in terms of their behavior, in terms of the way they behave to things, to issues and things like that. You have to be part of them, living with them for a few months, or to be able to know the way they relate to things. Case study, narrative study, you can see that this is very brief. I like the brevity. And what is giving us this opportunity is what I have told you here. You have to put ELS 10. ELS 10. Very, very important. Very, very important. So I move further. Then you look at these common data collection methods. It's telling us interviews, focus groups, observations, document analysis, like I've said. And then data analysis could be through thematic analysis, content analysis, discourse analysis, and coding. Thematic analysis could be identifying recurring themes or clusters or patterns in the data. Content analysis is talking about the categorizing and interpreting textual data in it and all of that. And then what is the benefit, the advantage, the merits? It says that it has a rich, detailed understanding of context, which is correct. And then it can capture perspectives and meaning. And it's also good for exploring new or complex topics. Now look at the limitations. Very succinct, time consuming. It is smaller sample sizes. For me, I don't say this as a demerit in a way, even though the sizes are small, but then you have to it's an opportunity for you to go deeper into getting the real experiences of each person. And then the next one here is subjective interpretation, because the interpretation is based on your findings, based on what you see, based on what the researcher is reporting. And then it's also you can also not generalize it. You can generalize it because you are only dealing with a few data. You're dealing with a few data. And then when to use qualitative study, it's telling us when to use it. You can use it only when you want to understand motivations, thoughts, or social processes. Then when the topic is new, complex, or poorly understood. Then when depth and detail are more important than breadth. This is fantastic. Then another one I want to show you is this. You can also ask it to copy this as well. The same concept is the same thing I want to find out. But rather than using the ELS 10, maybe you want it to be to present like the human nature, in terms of as it relates to human. Tell me the concept of qualitative study as it relates to human. This time around, you don't want to talk about animals, but the kind of study you want to study, it has to do with people, with human. So it will give you something closer to the way you should conduct your research as you go to the field. So this will equip you as a researcher to tailor it correctly. So let's see what we're going to have. Okay, can you see now? It's saying, can you see this is different from the previous presentation, even though the same prompt is what I give, but the only thing that is different here is that small snippet, which is the human, that particular feature that is bringing the format in a different way. So it's telling us what is qualitative study. When you read this, imagine you are sitting with someone who just experienced something powerful, a patient who tried a new treatment, a farmer using a new technique, or a student in a unique school system. You want to really understand their story, how they felt, what they thought, what changed for them. A qualitative study is all about understanding people's experiences, emotions, behaviors, and the meaning they attach to their lives. This is personalizing it to humans. So the next thing is now think of it like this, try to tailor you, try to teach you. A qualitative research, ask questions about how many or what is the average as it relates to human. Then qualitative research, ask questions about why did this happen? How did it feel? What does this mean to you? And so on and so forth. Now let's look at this. How do researchers do this? They talk to people, watch what they do, or read what they've written. Some common ways include interviews, like we have previously, having deep conversation with individuals. Can you see that? Is that personalizing it for humans, tailoring it to humans? So what do they look for? Researchers look for patterns in what people say or do, repeated words or phrases. This is the nitty-gritty of qualitative study, because when words are repeated, it shows emphasis on the particular word or phrase. Then shared feelings or attitude. So let's move further. Why is it useful? We want to ask question about why it is useful, because life is complex and not everything can be countered. For example, why don't some people trust banks? Why do teachers really feel about what do teachers really feel about digital learning? What is it like being a widow in a rural village? So, in simple terms now, a qualitative study is about people, stories, meanings, and context. It's curious, open ended, and deeply human. So, the last one is listify. We are going to add the word listify to replace this ELS 10 to replace human and just write listify. You want it to list it in a form, Let's see what we're going to get. Listify. Okay, a clear list format. You can see now that concept of qualitative study. Key points definition gives us the definition. It listed the definition as number one, and it now listed the nature of data as number two. Use non-numerical data such as words, images, and observations. Then purpose to explore why, how, and in what way. Data collection also listed it as that. Then key features like it did the other time. So this is very interesting. So you can also go further, especially when you want to be specific about a particular area that you want to work on. You can say that, oh, I want to conduct a qualitative research on widows in the rural area of Nigeria. Rural area of Nigeria. So without even asking ChatGPT to assist you to do a particular thing, let us see. I don't want to be specific yet, but then it's also better for you to be specific. I just want to leave it as general as it is. Let's see the way it's going to give us a framework or a guide regarding that. Or, just going to use the word ELS 10. Then I can also concatenate that with human. I'm going to put that in that. I'm going to use the two together. ELS 10. ELS 10. And then I put a comma and I say human. So let's see what we're going to have. So it's telling us, great. Conducting a qualitative research on study on widows in rural Nigeria is both important and deeply human. It allows you to hear their voices, understanding their lives and potential influence better policy or support system. So let's see the way it's going to do it. So it's asking question about what is your study about. Clarify your purpose. Can you see? It's guiding you that the first thing you have to do is to clarify your purpose. So it's now saying, let's start by asking yourself, what do I really want to understand about widows in rural area in Nigeria? Some possible focus areas might be, how do widows cope emotionally, socially, and economically? What challenge do they face in their community? These are questions that you should be asking yourself. These are questions that will guide the way you conduct the research. It also moves to, why use a qualitative approach? You have to justify, because in your research methodology, you have to justify why the need or, for this particular research design. Is now saying that because you want to explore experiences, e.g., what does life feel like as a widow? You also want to look at the meaning, e.g., how do widows interpret their social position? Then 3, process, e.g., how do they navigate survival without a spouse? So if you look at this use of ChatGPT, of AI, this is ethical in nature. It's not just asking you to copy this one and paste, but this is like a guide, guiding you towards what you're expected to do. Even though you can push this further to assist to give you a sample of what is expected. I'm going to ask it after now to say that. So the next one is, who will you talk to? Sampling, talking in terms of sampling. It's saying you don't need a large number of people in qualitative research. The aim is depth, not breadth. Suggested participants between 10 to 25. 10 to 25 widows from different rural communities. But what we know, it's that this is just a guide. It can go beyond this a little more. But the thing is, you have to note is saturation. When your data collection reaches saturation points, which is at the point when you begin to get almost the same responses from your respondents, then that way you have to give it a cut point, stop at that point, and then you move on. So use purposive sampling. See, how will you collect the data? Methods. It's talking about the methods. Choose methods that allow rich conversations and observation. Best methods for your context include in-depth interview, focus group discussion, participation, and now, what question will you ask them? The interview guide now. Ask open-ended questions such as, can you tell me about your life before and after your husband passed away? Can you see that? And then, what are the biggest challenges you face as a widow? How do people in your community treat you? What kind of help do you get? And so on and so forth. Then we're now saying for that, how will you analyze the data? Can you see? Use thematic analysis. Transcribe the interview or translate it in a local language. Read through, identify recurring theme, recurring themes, e.g. loneliness, stigma, survivor, hope, and all of that. Then group them under broader categories. Tell their story supported by quotes from your data. Then the ethical consideration, get informed consent. You can see this is what we have to do. It has already given you all the framework of how to set your qualitative study. This is excellent. This is another thing that are not readily available with all of the AI tools that are available out there. So this is fine. This is fine. So if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, why don't you do so just now and then click on the notification button so that you'll be notified when next I post next YouTube video. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.